sibilance.
I didn't hear nothing. Just scratch. Okay. We're live. We live. We got one watcher.
It's me.
Probably.
No, it's,
Hi, folks.
Emily.
Well, that's Cannabis is Emily.
yeah.
Yeah, we have sound, but it has an echo.
Echo.
Echo. Echo. Echo. Echo. Anybody got? You still got the echo? Scotty, you got an echo?
Let's see. Okay. When your board's on. What?
Go Leprechauns. Must be okay. There. Okay, guys, we are on the air tonight successfully. I'm not in a very good mood. Things that I'm not going right this week in more ways than one. So, let's find my gun show list and get that out of the way. Here we go. That's not it. That's not it. All right, who ate my gun show list? That confounded mice anyway.
Where's Layla?
Well, I know where we're at. Anyway. I have no, yes, I do. Even though you don't think I know where I'm at, I know where I'm at. I always know where I'm at. I'm always where my 2 feet are.
Unless you're a suicide bomber and you whoop your vest.
Yeah, now, if you take and...
Then you're everywhere.
if you take and cut one of my feet off, then I'll be where 2 places. One where 1 foot is and one where the other one is, wherever it is. Anyway, this next weekend, I will be in Yankee Lake Ballroom, Route 7, Brookville, Ohio. It's a couple 300 table show. I will be there next Saturday and Sunday. And then the following week, I will be at the Hermitage VFW.
Located on Route 62, 2 miles east of Route 18, or 9 miles east of the Mercerboro line.
You got that? And that's all I have until December, and then I'll mention that one come December. Because it's kind of a ways away and I don't have it. I think it's the 14th and 15th of December. So, but as... If you move closer to Mike, it sounds fine. Okay, I move closer. Let's see if it stays where I want to put it. Hello, Dolly. Anyway, what was I saying?
Last one, December.
Oh, last one's December the 14th, 15th up at Harbor Creek on US Route 20 at the Harbor Creek Fire Hall. So, anything you guys got on your chest you want to get off before we get rolling too far?
2 things.
Oh, Mr. T's got two things. 2 things.
2 things, yes. As I mentioned this before, I'll say it again. Supposedly tomorrow, on November the 4th, Antifa has threatened to kill millions and millions of Trump supporters, fascists, and everybody else they don't like. I believe 2 years ago they mentioned doing the same thing and nothing happened. But just be on your guard, probably look to the bigger cities anyway. But I'm not too worried about them really getting out of hand.
Well,
and yeah, they threaten a lot, say a lot, but haven't done a whole lot of what they said. They bash old women and old ladies and children. And,
Well, so far, most of their rhetoric has been hot air.
Yeah.
But about the time you dismiss them as just hot air, that's when they catch you off guard and cause some problems. So, be that as it may, you gotta always be wary.
Situational awareness. Know what's going on around you. Who's doing what, where, cars, people, the mall, whatever it may be, where you're at. Just keep an eye on what's going on. Just, listen, don't be tuned out. Listen to your iPod. Just be aware that something could possibly maybe happen. The second thing is for the voters in Pennsylvania. On Tuesday, on the ballot, there's going to be a yes or no vote concerning Marcy's Law. Okay? And there's going to be a yes or no vote concerning the wording as it appears on the ballot. Now, it's a feel-good law, but it's unconstitutional. Conservative lawyers have looked at this and have posted stuff on the internet. Marcy's Law, if you read the whole thing, is unconstitutional under both the PA and U.S. constitutions. Like the red flag / gun confiscation laws, the accused loses various rights. Basically, guilty until proven innocent, which is a communist, socialist, fascist, Nazism kind of thing. So our legislators have passed in Harrisburg something that's basically illegal under our state and U.S. constitutions. But there have been a lot of commercials on the internet and Facebook from what's the actor's name? I can't think of his name. He was a crime victim, I guess, and his sister was a crime victim. Anyway, he's all for it. I don't think he knows diddly squat about anything about it being unconstitutional. So tell your friends, tell your family members to vote no on Tuesday for martial law. Okay, vote against it? No. We do not want it. We don't need it. We have a crime victim law now that is tweaked by our overpaid senators and congressmen down in, reps down in Harrisburg, would do the same thing, and it would be constitutional. So vote no, and vote no again.
Vote no often.
On Tuesday for against Marcy's Law.
What was I going to say?
We should say vote no and vote often.
Yeah, I know I said that, but there was something else I was going to say when you were talking there. And
about Marcy's Law or just...
Oh, I was going to ask you if you had any particulars on some of the things that they were going to take, the rights that they were going to...
I wish I brought it with me, but it limits the accused on different things. It gives more to the person, the victim, but it takes away rights of the accuser that there's things that he's not going to see, his lawyer's not going to see until they go to court. That they would see now. I can't think of it.
In other words,
we should print it off. Right?
In other words, it's another form of confiscation of all your stuff. Because you have to prove yourself innocent instead of the other way around.
You got to go to court, but there again, it's been more. The thing is that you have to prove beyond a shadow of doubt, or even doubt, anything else on there, that you are innocent. There's no, and like I said, a lot of things I guess are going to be withheld from the accused and their lawyer until they get to court. So again, it's just like a gun confiscation law. The accused lose a lot of your rights. You're just considered I don't know what you call it, guilty, and you're basically guilty until proven innocent, but you're just considered guilty. So it's like trying to get yourself out of the trench, and you have no shovel or ladder. Again, vote on Marcy's Law. Vote no on Tuesday. I'm going to vote no. My family members are going to vote no.
I'm going to vote no if I can get a chance to get in and vote. With the way things are going with my wife, I don't know what's going to happen. She is now giving me fits about getting up in the morning, eating. We have a doctor's appointment tomorrow at 1:15, and I'm going to sort of pressure the doctor to maybe readmit her, because obviously something is not working. She was doing okay for a while, and then all of a sudden...
Well, if you can't make it, I'm sure Scott will fill in for you at the voting booth.
Yeah, you want to vote for me tomorrow, my proxy?
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday?
Well, I'm going to vote for it, so I'll negate both of your votes.
You're going to negate both of us. You're a negator.
Such language.
Oh, yes. Speaking of, that's a good way to break into this. I have, all this rhetoric that's been going around, hate speech and people getting in trouble for hate speech and all this kind of stuff, putting them in jail, making you lose your home life, whatever the case may be.
And I've been thrown in Facebook jail for saying correct but negative things about Islam and Antifa and anyway. So being correct about these people, because they're hate speech.
Well, since we're on the subject of hate speech, court opens door for anti-Semitism being taught in public school. Now remember, we've had all this crap about speaking out against Islam as being hate speech. But here, a court gives a teacher the right to do just that same thing against the Jewish faith. A teacher in Texas has been given permission by a judge to, if she chooses, fill her students' heads with hate against Jews, according to a scathing new report from the Clarion Project.
We're in Nazi Germany.
Yeah. The organization is not a non-profit that educates people about radical Islam and its dangers, as well as other ideologies that are extremists. Its film, seen by more than 125 million, exposes how Islamists use terror, murder, subjugation, indoctrination, persecution, and genocide. The report documents how there was a fight in Texas over a teacher's refusal to sign a statement that she opposed the BDS movement against Israel. That's an effort to demand everyone boycott, diverse from, and sanctions against Israel in order to drive it from the face of the earth. Pure 100% Islamic. Anyway,
Yes.
a federal judge ultimately ruled in favor of the teacher, Baha Amwai, a speech pathologist who had lost her job because she refused to follow state requirements not to support BDS. And number one, states supporting it, then that is wrong. It should not be allowed. Anyway, but anyhow, the judge Robert Pittman of Austin had ordered the law blocked because the boycotts were protected speech under the First Amendment. Report noted as a result, Amwai, I'll believe that name, will be able to fill her students' heads with hate against Jews if she so chooses, a situation that should not be allowed in any school. The Council of American Islamic Relations, a pro-Islam lobbying organization that was named as an unindicted co-conspirator in a terror funding trial, now is given its Muslim of the Year award to Amwai. Her. CARE has sued on her behalf to overturn the state law adopted in Texas in 2017, which bans the hiring of contractors who refused to sign the statement saying they do not support a boycott of Israel. Kara's Choice for Muslim of the Year award is a stunning statement about the organization. Instead of choosing someone from the Muslim community who has done some kind of extraordinary good in the world, CARE has chosen as its role model a woman who is helping fight for her right to hate within her preview as a public school teacher, the project report said. Okay, now you see where I'm getting, now we see just where the two colors are. If you're a Christian or Jewish, you can't speak out against the Islamics. Yeah, fire away, Gridley.
Oh, I just wanted to ask a question completely off topic. Where's Montgomery County, Ohio? Do you know?
No, not right off the top of my head. It's over that way.
Thank you.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's west of here somewhere. Name a big town near it, and
I don't know. I just pulled up a news story. It said that there was 45 pounds of fentanyl confiscated in a drug raid over in Montgomery County, Ohio.
I wonder if that's down around. Come on, Youngstown or Cincinnati,
Yeah,
maybe
no,
Columbus.
That would be Youngstown. Probably close to Columbus, I think.
Let me pull that up again, see if I...
Yeah.
I know Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. I used to live there.
So anyway, while he's looking to get that information, we're not allowed to speak out against the Islams or Islamic Jihad or whatever you want to call them because, that's hate speech, but they're allowed to teach it anti-Semitism to the children, and they don't call it hate speech.
Next step.
What'll be next? The Christian faith?
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be next. Go ahead.
Oh, I read more down into the story, and it said, it gave the three people that were arrested, and it says they're from Dayton.
Dayton, okay.
I'm guessing it's
Yeah.
over. I figured it was near a bigger community.
So that'd be over near, north of Cincinnati, about that far over, I believe.
45 pounds of fentanyl. Jeez, that's a
I think
a
I saw
whole lot
that.
of people.
I think they mentioned that in an article that there was enough fentanyl in that bust to kill every person in Ohio.
Gee, why don't we drop that over in Afghanistan?
The fun about fentanyl is that my mom was on fentanyl for a few months before she died.
If used properly, I mean, it's an outstanding drug.
They give it, we had to fight. She was in pain, okay? Had to fight with her doctor, and I forget who else. Because they were concerned that we, myself, my wife, or someone in the family, was going to use that for ourselves. Okay? No, I want to patch my mom to ease your pain that she has.
Yeah, they've gone overboard on all this opioid epidemic thing. People that really need it can't get it. And,
Because it's been abused by...
Yeah, those who don't need it.
The one doctor, male doctor I talked to, he was the second one in line. Look, he explained to me, they use people get this stuff, and they don't use it what's in. And I had to fight with him. My wife, look, I'm not a drug user. Never have been. No, my family is a drug user. Okay? We go, across the counter kind of stuff, And this is for my mom. Okay, she's in pain. She's got dementia. She's got other issues. And we know, somewhere along the line she's going to pass away. Maybe not sooner than we thought. But anyway, but we try to ease, her day-to-day pain that she had. They finally won the argument, right? So, it's all trying to pull teeth from a chicken, trying to get approval.
Well, back before they got really strictly on stuff, my mother was dying of cancer, and she was on the deathbed. and the pain was overwhelming, and they'd given her a shot of morphine. Okay, but it had wore off quick because the pain was that bad. And I called to the nurses' stations and told them that I said the morphine's not working, or else it's wearing off fast, or the dose is too light, whatever the case may be. Well, she can't have any more because it's liable to cause respiratory arrest.
Yeah.
And I says, what difference does it make if she dies 15 minutes from now in less pain, with the possibility of less pain, than being kept alive for another 24 to 48 hours suffering in extreme pain? Okay? So, she needs the medicine. Give it to her. Okay? They did. About 6 hours later, she passed away. But the point of it is, they'll let you lay there and suffer because somebody else abused,
Oh, yeah.
medicine, and that. So everybody, she was been given this under doctor's control, and it wasn't working. So either the dose that they gave her wasn't big enough, or it could have even been a placebo, as far as that go, to make her think that they gave her something for pain. I don't know. I got a little hot, and I told them, like I said, what difference does it make if she lives 48 hours in pain, or she lives a few hours with less pain?
No. It was funny, when I had my initial knee replacement, was the two follow-on operations of my knee. I really wasn't in any pain. But everybody come in would ask me, are you in pain? You need something. No, I'm fine. Are you sure? We can get you something for the pain. I'm not in pain. Please, I'm not in pain.
Working in the medical profession, that's one of the things that they drill into us. Ask that first, ask it often, because especially with men, and older men, not that you're old, but men with that are a little longer in the tooth try to play that whole stoic, no, I'm not in any pain, when you're really, really just suffering. Yeah, and you weren't, which is great, but we try to keep ahead of it.
Well, yeah, it's easier to maintain and to keep the level down if you stay ahead of it than it is to try and bring it down. Believe me, I know when I had my heart surgery. But on the same token, years ago when I had my shoulder repaired, I had a torn rotator cuff. And I come out of it, and they had this machine that was raising and lowering my arm. There was no pain. I mean, there was nothing. It just, no pain. Nurse kept coming in every shift. You need something for pain? No. So finally, after about the third night of being woke up from a sound sleep, do you need something for pain? I figured, I'm going to take the shot and let's shut them up.
Yeah.
So I took the shot even though I didn't need it, to shut them up so I could get a good night's sleep.
That makes about as much sense as waking somebody up to ask them if they need a sleeping pill.
Yeah.
Obviously they're not in any discomfort because they're sound asleep.
Well,
Yeah.
I hate, the one hospital I've been using now for different things, I'm sound asleep. It's 4 a.m. in the morning, and some nurse comes by and we can take my vitals.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that too.
We'll make sure you're still alive. You
Wait until morning and see if I'm breathing.
you get to check, make sure my chest is rising and falling.
And we go again. Peanut gallery, a guy over there in the 15th row to the left.
The reason it's taken so early in the morning is, one, it's a good baseline for how you're going to start your day, and two, when doctors do their rounds, that's one of the things
they do it.
Yeah.
and they do it very early in the morning. It sucks, and I hate waking. Ma'am, I need to check your blood pressure. But that's the reason. It's not that we're just doing it to be jerks, but maybe in your case they were.
They got that on camera, that face you made. Yeah, there's a lot of funny things that happen in hospitals. There's a lot of funny things that are not funny that happen in hospitals. But anyway.
Yes, as a matter of fact, when I was up in Erie after my heart surgery, you know, I had a catheter in for a few days, and that's not funny in the least. Well, my friend Jeremiah, my good friend, if you're listening, yeah, he was visiting about the time the nurse came in to discontinue my catheter, and his response was, "Oh, I'll do it. I'll start him like a pull-start lawnmower." Yeah, I didn't let him do that. Yeah, he had every intention of yanking that bastard out.
No,
Thank you.
not the new ones anyway.
You got that inflated balloon? And
Yeah, not those balloons that inflate as big as your damn thumb. Oh man, deflate that sucker first. I know firsthand what happens when it does.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Either or plays.
I almost died twice off the one death. I used 2 lives up there at the last time I was in the hospital. Anyway, that's beside the
How
point.
many left now?
1, 2, 3, I don't know. I know I know that I should have been gone 5 different times that I know of. Who would like to read this next one?
I'll do it.
Okay.
You'll do it? Boy, good.
Let me read through it. You guys go ahead and continue on. I want to get a...
No fair, it's spontaneous reaction to. You're supposed to be reading it out loud.
Well, I've skimmed through it first. Get the gist of what it was covered.
So, the title, the headline is, Judge Bans Business Owners from Stating Christian Beliefs. According to that article, a federal judge has affirmed a Colorado law that effectively bans business owners from freely expressing in public their religious beliefs about marriage and homosexuality. Colorado was the loser in a similar dispute, the Masterpiece Cake Shop case, in which the U.S. Supreme Court ruled the state show... Rewind. The Masterpiece Cake Shop case in which the U.S. Supreme Court ruled the state show hostility to the Christian beliefs of Jack Phillips in its handling of his refusal to make a cake for same-sex wedding. Since then, openly homosexual Democratic Governor Jared Polis
Pollock.
has pursued a gay rights agenda that includes allowing people to indicate their sex on driver's licenses according to their gender identity, and banning counselors from helping young people who want to rid themselves of same-sex attractions.
We can do that in Pennsylvania now.
Yeah, that's her.
Now, Judge Marcia Krieger has upheld a Colorado law that banned web designer Lori Smith and her studio 303 Creative from publicly expressing the religious reasons she declines
Man, 303.
to promote same-sex marriage.
It's a British round.
Smith, defended by the Alliance Defending Freedom, filed a lawsuit against members of the Colorado Civil Rights Commission, Attorney General Cynthia Kaufman, and Aubrey Elinas, director of the Colorado Civil Rights Division. It goes on to say a bunch more stuff, but I don't want to read it.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's repeat. But the point of it is, you're a business owner, you no longer have the right to pick and choose who your customers are going to be, okay? If you happen to be Christian, you can't speak out against the Islamics because that's hate speech. If you're Islamic, it's okay to speak out against anti-Semitism against the Jews. That's not hate speech.
We're against Christians.
Yeah, and if you're Jewish and you speak out against the Islamic religion, why, that's hate speech. And if you say anything about calling a black person black, why, that's hate speech. If you use the word lynching, okay, that's hate speech. That was something I wanted to talk about last week before we got befuddled with our thing here, when Trump used the word lynching in a tweet about how he felt the impeachment proceedings were going in Washington there. The blacks took it as a racist slur because there were blacks that were lynched. Well, yes, there were. Was it right or wrong? Yes, it probably was. But on the same token, there was many white people that were lynched
There's something happening.
without proper due process. And I imagine over the years, before we became more civilized, the Indians, a lot of them got lynched when they were captured. So, lynching is not just referring to...
Something happened in Louisiana in the fall. The Italians, I can't remember what year, 30s, I'm trying to remember. Anyway, I forget how many of them, they were accused of various things. You were from Italy, you were automatically guilty of a number of stuff. And something happened, and they lynched, I don't know, 10, 20, I forget the exact number. They just started lynching them. No going to court, no chance for a trial, just, no chance to prove your innocence or anything like that. Just, you're Italian, they're going to lynch you. And they did. And that's, lynching is not just about blacks.
I can understand, the one article I read, it did say that the number of recorded lynchings was like disproportionately more black than white. And you have every right to speak up and say what you want to say against it. But what pisses me off is the fact that they have politicians on record. I think it was even Nadler from back during the Bill Clinton. With Biden.
Biden, yes.
One of the big name politicians today referred to it as a lynch mob, and nothing, and that was completely ignored. Mm-hmm. And I don't like the hypocrisy of it.
Well, you know why it was ignored? Because it would put Biden in the bad light that they're trying to cast on to Trump, so that he would not.
Oh yeah, I understand.
Yeah, that's all. It's all political maneuvering as far as the Democrats are going.
That's the thing. You like some of the TV shows in the 50s and 60s, the cowboy stuff, and movie stuff, and you got a guy suspected of being a horse thief. Didn't do it, but he's accused of doing it. You're ready to lynch him, or he committed murder. Or was accused of committing murder. No trial. We're going to lynch him anyway.
Wasn't there a Clint Eastwood movie that opened up where they hung him and then the rope broke?
Yeah. No, they hung him, but a U.S. Marshal come by and cut him loose in that, God.
Was it one of his spaghetti westerns?
No. Hang 'em High? Is that the name of it?
Regardless, I just popped into my head.
Because U.S. Marshal cut him down and saved his life before
he ended up becoming like a lawman himself or something. Yeah. He was deputized to go after the people who tried to kill him or something.
Yeah, that's why I think it was Hang 'em High. But the kids in our chat room maybe know. Cannabis, who was doing the lynching, Democrats or the KKK?
Both.
Both. The Democratic arm of the KKK. Hang 'em High is what the movie was. The old fart comes through again.
Hey, you know what? There's something in there.
Besides earwax?
I figured if it involved a Western of some sort, you would have known it right away.
Well, I know quite a few of them, but not necessarily.
Most time I shop, I get to the back door, and he's watching the movies. A lot of times it's a Western.
Oh yeah,
There'll be a Western if there's no war movie on. If there's a war movie on, I'll be watching the war movie.
Yeah.
Okay? Of course, Westerns, when they're fighting the Indians, is sort of like a war movie.
Yeah.
Okay?
So in the Civic household, there's two channels. There's the War Channel, and then there's the Cowboy Channel. You don't need none else.
That's right, man. Take my word for it. You're paying for a lot of stuff you don't need.
Occasionally he watches the football channel.
Yeah.
Steelers play today?
Yeah.
They won.
They won.
Yeah.
26.
26 to 24. That makes them 500 for the season, and maybe if maybe if Baltimore's playing New England tonight.
Yeah. The Patriots.
Patriots, yeah.
They'll probably lose.
Patriots will probably win.
Yeah.
In this case, not that I'm a Patriot fan, but I don't like Baltimore, so I guess I'd have to float my stick that I'd like to see the Patriots knock Baltimore off.
I refuse to, quite frankly, I don't care about the sports stuff much. But I will not call them Baltimore. I call them the Old Browns.
Yeah, well, they are the old Browns. Okay. They now become Girl Scouts instead of Brownies.
Well, I knew Pittsburgh one because I listened to the game on the way up to keep me,
I feel so bad for my cousin. She has been a Browns fan for her whole life, and her mom gets season tickets, so they get to go a couple times. And every week she posts on Facebook, "Oh, my Browns!" And by the end of the day, she's like, "Oh, I just wanted to win one, just one game."
Well, there's a lot of people that do eat and sleep sports. Okay.
And she's not that way. She just loves the Browns.
And I'm not that way either, but I like the Steelers.
There's some people I know they're Browns fans to the core. It doesn't matter, next year.
Always next year. I wonder how they did today. They were playing.
I think they lost.
Yeah.
Well, let's have it.
Oh,
You check the magic box.
Yeah, check the magic box, the thing that's more intelligent than we are. Anyway, while he's doing that.
He's doing that. Okay.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Chairwarmers.
This is a commentary, I do believe.
Government of, by, and for the bureaucracy. For World Net Daily. And now they work for state government. I know this well. Oh, wait a minute. We have an interruption. Newsflash.
Well, I'll let.
Oh.
The game's still ongoing.
Oh, it's still going.
Third quarter.
Well, 7 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Wow.
Broncos 17, Browns 12. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I was just curious to,
Yeah.
what was going on. So.
That's what you guys should work out. Like maybe upcoming shows. Take 15-minute block and go over sports stuff. Throw a little different in
More stuff?
Sports.
Sports. No, I don't care for sports that much.
Well, we just talked about it. Took up some time.
I know, that's because we were giving you time to buff your...
Check that magic box in this.
Besides, we like to be multitasking here.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Anyway, getting back to this, Revenge of the Chairwarmers, government of, by, and for bureaucracy. What have we learned so far from impeachment? We learned that we don't need elections anymore. We are in a post-constitutional government. That is, government of, by, and for the chairwarmers. The bureaucrats, in particular. You don't know about that? Just get out of Harrisburg.
Hi, Jack. Go ahead.
From what we can tell, President Trump is guilty of the high crime of disagreeing with unelected bureaucrats and adept at justifying their own existence in warming chairs. One of these unelected, previously unknown office holders, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman. He told Congress that he was most alarmed because the president's foreign policy ran contrary to the consensus of the interagency. Nowhere in the Constitution do the framers mention this interagency or empower it to make foreign policy. Trump makes foreign policy. Then where's the United States Army? Last I checked, one of the military services that are supposed to be apolitical and subordinate to civilian authority. This is true. He was supposed to interact in 2004 and was wounded. Never met the guy myself. So Vindman disagreed with the policies that by A, the civilian leader of our country, and B, his commander-in-chief, Lieutenant Colonel went outside the chain of command to torpedo the policy he didn't like, going so far as to aid and abet the removal of the duly elected president. That is in violation of his oath. Not to mention UCMJ. 7 Days in May, anyone? Remember that movie?
Yeah, I remember that.
We need to
Kirk Douglas and somebody else, I forget who it was.
The four-star general was played by...
Roy Rogers.
No.
It was Roy Rogers. Movie in my head, it's Roy Rogers. He's right.
Something wrong with your head.
Anyway.
Come here, let me open it up and see what's going on in there.
But Vindman, in his exalted interagency, felt entitled enough to set U.S. foreign policy and confident enough to instigate the impeachment of President Trump is only one example of insubordination by inferior officers. Inferior officers.
Inferior.
Not just subordinate officers, but inferior.
Inferior. Another lower rank.
Well, let me go beyond the rank business here. Anyway, throughout the government we find unelected bureaucrats making policy instead of carrying out the policies set by the president we elected and the Constitution empowered to do so, which is true. You'll find that in your own state government. Insubordination has become so commonplace, people who should know better now regard it as a national order of things. When President Trump puts aside the assessment of some deputy assistant undersecretary of chairwoman, Fox's Chris Wallace incredibly asked the president how the president could go against his own government. In Wallace's universe, the president works for the interagency bureaucrats, not the other way around. Having worked as a staff officer on many occasions, you inform the commander of different things. He sets policy. He sets procedures. You, as a loyal staff officer, will follow them along courses with the guidelines of military rules and regulations.
Something, I'll just interject real quick, something that I was taught by a sergeant in the Army. I was a young private. I think I mentioned this probably about a zillion times. There are 3 ways to get by in this man's Army. Do as you're told, God damn it, do as you're told. You know, and like I said, as long as it's not immoral or illegal,
Yes.
you're good to go. Do as you're told.
As long as it's not immoral, illegal. I can't think of the third one. Anyway, it's so long. Where was I? Oh. Another example. Bob Woodward's book Fear tells of the staff secretaries and advisors blocking the America First policy voters elected Trump to enact. Woodward sees nothing amiss with that. Staff secretaries and advisors who work for the president, not against him. You can advise him on things. His responsibility, whichever way they go. Excuse me. Anyway, these White House factoids have spun themselves into believing that renegotiating the U.S.-South Korean free trade agreement would lead inevitably to literal, catch my fingers. Literal thermonuclear warfare. For the record, the president did eventually renegotiate the trade deal with South Korea despite this convening globalist advisor. This conniving globalist advisor. And in case you miss it, we dodged a nuclear war. Good thing, nukes are very bad. I know I have been in the nuclear artillery for a while. 45 years ago, in the era of Deep Throat, John Dean opinionated.
Deep Throat. Oh, I haven't seen that movie in
John Dean opined of the cancer growing on the presidency. Now we have much more virulent cancer metastasizing inside our representative democracy. I think it's a republic, actually. That cancer is the permanent government, the deep state, the former CIA director says we should thank God for. I once read a book, I won't mention what it is, but it talks about the deep state, but doesn't mention this deep state. It mentions about, you see an Army officer that committed suicide, or some staffer that was murdered, or something else that disappeared. And that was allusion to the deep state. The people that, if they don't like you, your history. Since the inception of the turn of the last century, the progressive, read that, socialist, communist, fascist project has sought to replace democracy. It was ruled by a permanent class of professional democratic managers. This is why the framers put certain limitations on the federal government, which have been ignored over the last few plus centuries. the left has achieved this objective with the fourth branch of government, the administrative state bureaucracy populated by millions of employees, promulgating millions of rules and regulations that touch virtually every aspect of American life. And just on a side note, I read an article just yesterday that kind of mentions all these rules and regulations that touch virtually every aspect of American life. And I know Mike, you say this many times the last few years, but the article mentioned that on average, on a daily basis, an American, on average, I should say, commits 3 felonies. What do you know on that? There are so many rules, regulations that sometimes contradict other rules and regulations that we got cleared up. And some rules are on the books that should never been there and need to be removed anyway because they're outdated. But back to this story here. 75 years ago, elite geniuses, put that in quotes, set government policy on a globalist trajectory, aka the post-war architecture rules based on international order. Read that New World Order.
What New World Order?
Now the federal leviathan executes the policy by autopilot, moving in the same direction regardless of who's in control of the White House or Congress. Presidents come and go. The beast continues slouching toward Bethlehem. And impeachment is but the latest revenge against the man who had the audacity to challenge the globalist policies and the aggregate power of the permanent government. That's why before Trump even took office. Opportunity intelligence services and national security operators used the instruments of government to launch an operation to help Hillary Clinton under pretext of a counterintelligence investigation, which was illegal anyway. When the American people rejected Hillary, the Praetorian Guard set its sights on taking out the elected president. Should their coup succeed, it will sound a death knell for a constitutional republic. And of that I have no doubt it will. Our republic is on the verge of collapse due to people who can't follow the Constitution or the oath of office, rule of regulation that set limits to our government.
I have said for a long time that the CIA has overgrown its bounds of being a overseas intelligence agency. They should not be allowed to use their word sanction somebody. And if you don't know what sanction means, kill somebody because they don't like him or whatever. They shouldn't have a military arm. They should not have the ability to get us involved in military actions of any kind. They strictly should be held to the fact that they're there to gather information, intelligence, and then interpret it and then give that information to the president so he can make a decision as to how things should be handled, not by a civilian organization. Yes, young man over there.
Isn't there a conspiracy theory as to what that was one of the reasons that JFK was assassinated, because he had talked about getting rid of the CIA or some sort of...
Well, he was talking about getting rid of the CIA, he talked about getting rid of the
Federal Reserve
System.
Yeah.
And that he announced that a week or two before his death that there was this plot, this movement, to basically overthrow the government, the Constitution.
Yeah, and he had come out with a $5 bill, U.S. Treasury note.
Yes, he was going to replace all, even...
Go away with Federal Reserve and go to all U.S. Treasury notes.
As he once were, yes.
Yeah.
And then, he was gone. Shot by a guy with an Italian rifle that made several lucky shots.
Ricocheted around several different good directions,
Yeah, well... I know the one that headshot it ricocheted off the dashboard, probably back in the head of Kennedy.
Yeah.
Or something.
And then they found a perfectly intact bullet.
Yes. No deformation whatsoever.
Well, I mean, if you look at those bullets, they were steel jacketed, and but that
Well, this is
I don't care. It was steel jacketed, but it was lead filled, and the steel is going to deform if it hits
Something.
something hard.
The one that they found, it hit Kennedy, went through the seat, hit
Conley.
and came out. Perfect, pristine,
Mm-hmm.
ready to be reloaded.
No rifle marks on it.
Okay. Now, what's this? Gunny Sergeant Hathcock, the second-ranking Marine sniper in Vietnam. They used 7 killed, I believe. 93. I forget.
Hathcock, you said?
Yeah. He died not too many years ago. I think he had. Anyway, he was taken to Dallas and went to the window that Mr. Lee Hoggle supposedly used with his Italian-made rifle. And of course, this is much later after the fact. They had to show him pictures of what the area looked like then versus now. And Hathcock said, there is no way I can make the shot with this rifle. Okay, so if the second-ranking Marine sniper in Vietnam said that he could make those kind of shots with an Italian-made rifle without a scope, or with a scope, I think, but anyway, it would be, like, okay, how did this guy do it? This guy, okay, he was a Marine, but who taught him to shoot, if he even shot at all?
That's because he was supplied with the magic bullet.
I guess.
And yeah, it's if you watch the video real close, you will see Kennedy's head jerking backwards as he's hit, and the chunk of his head coming off the back. Now, anybody that's shot anything knows the entrance wound, unless the bullet hits something before it gets to the target, the entrance wound is usually a pretty clean round hole. The exit wound,
Catastrophic.
yes,
Looks a bigger.
yeah, there's quite a bit of disfiguring and loss of tissue. And when his head jerked back and you saw the chunk of his head fly back, it's not because the bullet hit him in the back of the head, it's because the bullet hit him from the front. Okay? And,
It's the grassy knoll.
yeah, or the sewer. Okay? And I'm not saying Oswald wasn't involved in it. Okay?
Like he said, in his own words,
He was the
patsy.
yeah, he was the patsy. He was the fall guy. He's the one that was supposed to get captured. And I do believe it was all set up for who was the guy that shot Oswald?
Jack Ruby.
Jack Ruby. He was suffering from cancer. He knew it, and somebody come along and said, "Hey, we will give your family bunches of money to support themselves, because you are dying. You could do us all a favor and hush this man up." Okay? Bingo! The scenario is already set. Okay? And the sad part of it is the police saw him in the crowd, and he wasn't supposed to be there. Okay? Technically, it was only supposed to be reporters and other police officers as security. Yet he was able to come up and... So, there's a lot of shit that's been perpetrated on this country that has been covered up, and we'll probably never know all the truth about it. But the main organization that's behind that is the CIA and the NSA, National Security Agency.
Probably the FBI.
Yeah. Well, you get domestic help with the FBI, the ATF, those lawless bandits, and that. So, anyway, see, what's this one? When you watch the film, it's always more than one shooter.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't deny that. That's correct. That's right. Why
Yeah.
doesn't Trump release all the Warren report without any redaction? Probably because all the copies have been redacted, so they have no real copy.
Yeah, I remember reading it. There were some people, some witnesses, one was a police officer, me too, that reported gunshots from different locations, and somehow they just died. They were killed by something before they could actually give the full story. Witnesses, we have to get rid of them.
Yeah. Well, we can't have any witnesses against what we did. And we got to set it up so it's they fall like dominoes right down the line here, and cover it up. Anybody remember the movie The Shooter with Mark Wahlberg?
Mark Wahlberg. They go to talk to that old guy out in the...
Yeah, and he says the other shooters, the other 2 shooters or 3 shooters are buried in the desert out behind Saralingo. I still have the shovel.
One of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
I know.
So, but there again, it shows you how they trapped him into an act, and he knew it. He knew it was a trap. Otherwise, he wouldn't have things set up the way he did. But
The book is much better than the movie, I think.
yeah, well,
Other than that one scene with...
you know, the movie always Hollywood always takes liberties,
I know.
and they got to make it look more interesting. So anyway,
And then one of my daughters has Dragon Wars. And I seen part of it. I watched it yesterday, and an interesting storyline. But to see, the guy ripping down from the repelling down from the helicopters, and you get the Black Hawks are so close together. And I said that wouldn't happen that close. And of course my daughter's saying, well, it's a movie. They had a limited time to do things. They got to get this action sequence in and stuff. And so yeah, okay. I don't think you can fly Apache helicopters down the streets of a build up city like that. Anyway.
there was a comment on here. That was one of the best scenes in the movie. Must be referring to the shooter. And
Oh yeah, I love that.
there's a question by
Winterborn.
Winterborn. Daryl, what does a pirate pay for his corn? 1 piece of 8. A buccaneer.
Buccaneer, I got it now.
No, it's 1 piece of 8.
I'm the buddy. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, now we've done that. We've gone virtually into the gutter. Let's continue in the gutter while we talk about Michelle Obama.
Hey, Mikey.
Yeah, Mikey, your favorite girlfriend. Michelle Obama wants to remind white folks that you are still running from the blacks and immigrants. This is off of WorldNet Daily. White Americans are running away from blacks and immigrants when they leave inner cities behind, according to former First Lady Michelle Obama. Well, she's the former First Lady. Who is she now? Or who is he now? Anyway. I want to... It was going good until you started chuckling. I want to remind white folks that y'all were running from us, and you're still running, she said Tuesday during a speech at the Obama Foundation Summit in Chicago. According to the Chicago Sun-Times, she noted that white citizens do the same with new immigrant populations that move into formerly white neighborhoods and communities. She said that when as a child, she and another black family black families moved into Chicago's South Side. They were doing doing everything we were supposed to do and better. But when we moved in, white families moved out. That's because they knew what was coming. They wanted to get out before you deteriorated the neighborhood. During her presentation at the Illinois Institute of Technology, Obama said there was no reason for white families to leave and blamed them for the subsequent decay of the neighborhood. Oh yeah, blame the other guy. Never your fault, blame the other guy. Okay. There were no gangs, there were no territorial battles, yet one by one they packed their bags and they ran from us and left their communities in shambles, she said. Obama had direct message to white citizens, the Hill reported. I can't make people not afraid of black people. I don't know what's going on. You're absolutely right. That's probably about the most truthful statement you made. I can't explain what happens in your head, she said. She also affirmed that the issue of discrimination exists because a defect in white people and that it was up to black Americans to overcome that. We can't do it for them because they're broken. Their brokenness is how they see us as a reflection of this brokenness. If you can't fix that, all you can do is the work, she said. Some pushback at her on Twitter. A former First Lady said that someone had terminology to doubt her.
Where that?
Right there.
No, I had the temerity.
Audacity.
Oh, we had that even right. I think audacity.
As people doubted us coming through, you are Princeton material. Boy, what's that mean? Can you really make the grade? Can you cut it?
Princeton material. I thought, communist schools.
Yeah. What do you do in those instances? All you can do is put your head down and do the work and let the work, your truth, speak for itself, she said, according to the Hill. She said that her mission is to live such a blameless life that discrimination will fade away in the minds of all people with whom she deals. But maybe if I show up every day as a human, a good human, doing wonderful things, loving my family, loving our kids, taking care of things that I care about, maybe, just maybe, that work will pick away at the scabs of our discrimination, because that will slowly unravel it, she said. There's a couple more paragraphs, but it's more gobbledygook. Okay.
Okay, she and her, anyway, she and Barack,
Yeah.
Mike and Barack, bought a $14.5 million mansion in Nantucket, okay? Now, Nantucket is an island, surrounded by water. And so the amount of time you can concern about global warming and the oceans rising, they bought a place on an island. But I think everybody around him is white. So has anybody moved out yet?
Well, my thing is, well, I'll tell you what, according to my clock, it is 7 o'clock, top of the hour. Let's take a 5-minute break so we can rest our voices, and we'll come back and pick this up for discussion after the break. So, we'll see, you'll still see us, but we're going to quiet down for about 5 minutes. So, well, Scotty is going to take them off.
Bye.
We talked at you later, alligator. Anyhow, let's get back to this being. She made comment about white folks leaving a neighborhood, and once the blacks started to move in. That's because from time again and again and again, when the blacks come moving in, then the trouble follows right behind them.
That was true in the 60s in Philadelphia.
Yep.
I had relatives that lived in Philadelphia.
Now,
that moved out of Philadelphia because of the neighborhoods went to Allen Bassett because black folk, and I'm going to say this, and people get offended, were trash. Okay, now of course they were white trash too. But now I had an aunt who lived there for. Her husband was working for the city of Philadelphia, so they couldn't move. They had to stay with this young stuff. And she finally did move after his death.
now we had a bunch of blacks live in some alleys behind our house, and they, for the most part, were fairly nice people. I got along with the kids quite well. Okay, but where the problem is lying is in the big cities when these people decide to move in, and then what happens, they don't go to school, they don't take advantage of the educational system that's there. They find it much more convenient to sell drugs or prostitute their mothers and sisters and what have you. And that's not just the blacks, it's other people that come from other ethnic communities.
When I was in then West Germany, there was a few blacks in the area where I lived off post, off installation. They talked the King's English, and that's what they were talking. And they seemed to meld in pretty well. They knew, I don't remember hearing any problem about with them, anything else. So I mean, it's actually the person, not the color, that's the issue. If you're raised properly, then you should continue on and raise your kids properly and not let them go to hell and back.
Like that one night over there in Ferguson, with a mother come out after her kid and beat him down the street, taking him home from the riot. Okay. But yeah, it's not necessarily the kid's fault that this happens. It's because the parents don't do anything to discipline them. They have no idea what their kids are doing. They're out there forming gangs instead of being home, doing their homework or their chores around. Oh, heaven forbid they do any chores around the house, keep the yard mowed, keep the grass, trash picked up and all that kind of stuff. The normal things that Whitey does, they don't. And so they trash the neighborhood. And it gets to the point where it takes 20 minutes for the police to respond to a call. People, no wonder they move out of the
Main Street I lived on, there was that End Street, cul-de-sac. And unless I had really a test to do or a paper grade, after school, it's outside. We're playing with neighbor kids, with kids out, and we're shooting baskets, we're playing softball, we're playing street hockey, we're doing touch football in someone's yard, riding bikes. And usually, when my dad comes home, okay, I'll have dinner, we go home and have dinner, and then it's homework after that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the same way with us. We come home, in my particular case, I come home and my dad bought a duplex and we were remodeling it, so I didn't have a lot of time to do anything after school except tear the plaster off the walls in a certain section and have it cleaned up, so when he came home the next day after he got up from work, and he could do some work on it. So during the week my time was quite limited. I had to do that before supper, and then after supper I had to finish whatever it was that I didn't get done, and then I had to do my homework. But in the earlier years before that happened, before we started to remodel the place, we used to get together in the neighborhood, the kids, and play football. And we wasn't just touch football, it was tackle football, okay? And we had the black kids in the neighborhood come down and they played with us. We played cowboys and Indians, bank robbers, or cops and robbers, and we played army. You know, we killed more Japs and Germans than they did in World War II. But the thing of it is, we did all this stuff, and today if you do that stuff, it's racially motivated. Okay? Cops and robbers, okay, you're going after, well, because a black was a robber, you're a hater, you're a segregationist, they're offended because you said robber. Cowboys and Indians, oh boy. Well, you played cowboys and Indians, that was hate speech at its best. No, that's under today's terminology. This is not the country I grew up in, and I don't think I'll live long enough to ever see it come back, and nor do I really expect it to ever come back, to tell you the truth.
I think those days are...
Just like that one story said there, we're in the final days of a constitution. They use democracy, but it was constitutional republic. That one story you wrote, read, yeah. Read, and that. So,
I know on Facebook now, I'll see the commercials that ran back in my young days, you know, with the guns, the pistols, the rifles, the submachine guns, all the great toys. You know, and bang, 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 either
Yeah.
cap guns or built-in
noisemaker in it.
and and all this stuff, and something. And now you can't air a commercial today and sell it probably because people would be up in arms and you're teaching kids violence.
Yeah. I wanna say something to Jack. I'm fortunate we live in a mixed neighborhood, but everybody gets along, and it's still somewhat safe for being in the city. Okay, there are areas like that, okay. I would classify the area where I lived as being mixed because we had blacks, we had Syrians, we had Lebanese, of course we had Christians. We did have one asshole family, white family. And I can't really blame them for being as bad as they were, because the father was in Korea and got shot up real bad, and so he was not able to discipline his kids. Plus they multiplied like rabbits, and they weren't black, they were white. Okay, they were white trash, and unfortunately I blame it on the condition of the father. I hope that's what caused the problem, because with his, based on what I have had to deal with in my life on broken bones and stuff, any wounds that tear you apart like that have got to be painful even when they're supposedly healed. Okay? So he probably just didn't have the gumption to go after the kids and keep them straight. But there are exceptions to every rule, but the problem is finding these neighborhoods is beginning to get harder and harder to find. So cherish that neighborhood as long as you can, Jack, if it stays that way. Okay, let's see. G.I. Joseph. Apply polylogins for running late. The Grogies. I met, okay. Up damn time you showed up. Good evening to our auspicious host. Me? Him? Auspicious?
All right, Scott.
Oh boy. I'm sorry. I got to reading some of those things. Go ahead. You want to read that one?
You doing that one?
Yeah, I've done it.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the one. This is the one about Obama and how we're running.
I'm
for
sure you're done now, so.
Yeah, we done. I just haven't figured out who she or he is now that she's not the first lady.
Just Mike. Just plain Mike.
Yeah.
Okay. Jim Jordan, 4 facts undermine Dems' impeachment push. From Net Daily. And oh no, it's about Colonel Bindman again. Anyway. The contentious leak testimony changed nothing. Democrats are touting Army Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Bindman as the first-hand witness who was expressing concern about the phone call between President Trump and the Ukrainian president to trigger the current impeachment investigation. But Jim Jordan, Republican from Ohio, ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, insisted Tuesday there are 4 fundamental facts that have never changed that undermine the Democrats' accusations. First of all, Mr. Biden is not the first one we've talked to who has been on the call. You heard President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. We've got the transcript before the board of the Biden closed door deposition. Biden testified Tuesday this past week for House Intelligence, Foreign Affairs, and Oversight and Reform Committees. And now his whistleblower, the thing has been since identified, was a CIA operative looking for Biden and whatever else, and accused Trump of using the withholding of aid to pressure Zelensky, Ukrainian president, to investigate Hunter Biden's profiting from a Ukrainian natural gas firm while his father was Obama's point man for Ukrainian policy. White House contends the transcript recall that release showed there is no quid pro quo, and officials argue Zelensky has insisted he was not pressured and aid was delivered. President Trump and President Zelensky said, no conditions, no pressure, no pushing, no quid pro quo. Jordan said. We got transcript that shows that. We know Ukrainians did not know the time to call that aid had been withheld. You tell me that action. Oh, and tell me what action President Zelensky or the Ukrainians took to get the aid turned back on. Did he do a press conference? Did he issue a statement? Did he say he was going to investigate and do certain things? He contended, or he continued? None of that happened. Jordan summarized the 4 facts in the tweet. President Trump and President Zelensky both say there was no pressure. The transcript showed no conditionality. Ukraine did not know aid was held back at the time of the call. Ukrainians are taking action that was really being pressured to take. House Republicans have criticized House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff for holding the hearings in private, restricting access to witness testimony, leaking selected testimony, and probably embellishing a whole lot, and leaving the impeachment inquiry open-ended by not holding a full House vote that establishes the scope and the ground rules. Those 4 facts have never changed, you know all this stuff that Adam Schiff wants to talk about, leak, lead to position. That's all it is. On the basis things have changed. I think since his article was published, it's kind of the fact that President Trump had every reason, every right to ask about Biden's Vice President and son Hunter, if they're involved in illegal activities.
Well, you know what I get about this whole thing. Both Trump and the Ukrainian president both stated that there was no pressure, there was no collusion, and it was just a conversation about suspicion of some American may be doing something wrong over in Ukraine. Now, just so happens his father happens to be a presidential candidate, does not demean the fact that this guy doesn't need to be investigated for it if that is the case is true. So he has every right. He did not put pressure on him to do it. He just made a statement that I think that's something.
And while they have it on tape, the film, that he talks about, he brags about withholding money until a Ukrainian prosecutor was fired. And then right there, oh, he was fired, great, whatever. Right? Well, wait a minute. You put pressure on Ukrainians to fire this guy for what reason? What was he looking into? Corruption on your part? Probably so.
Yeah, well, that's usually the way you get rid of your opposition. If you can't fire them, you kill them. You shut them up one way or another. And the whole thing is a railroad. And I'm going to use Trump's terminology. It's a lynching. And if they want to cut us off here because I said that, well, that's too bad. The truth hurts. If the shoe fits, wear it. And I know those are old sayings a lot of you kids out there probably never heard of, but, okay, Hunter Biden got $50,000 a month from Ukrainian company and $1.5 billion from China for what? He did have a great coke habit.
This is true. That's well known.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember correctly, the rental car he had, at one point in time, he had cocaine in the car.
Yeah. How much is he on? You know, he needs 1.5 billion from China to take care of it.
I think his cocaine habit, they all kind of led to divorce with his first wife. I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, if she was smart for getting out from underneath that, you know, if she left because of that, and his second wife, if she hasn't left and sued for divorce, is probably just taking as much as he is. And yeah, so I have another one here. I don't know how to go about this one.
Which one's that one?
Do Dems and media have any loyalty to America?
What's the next one?
Next one under that. Scalise impeachment resolution sets Soviet-style rules.
When you look at that one, I'll think
Okay, I'll do this while you looking at that. Okay, this is off of Newsmax.com. Scalise impeachment resolution sets Soviet-style rules. This is by Jeffrey Rodek. Representative Steve Scalise, Republican from Louisiana, blasted the Democrats' impeachment resolution and called it Soviet-style rules. His comments came Thursday just before the House approved the resolution. Speaking on the House floor, Scalise said the Soviet-style rules may be in the Soviet Union. You do things like this, but only you make the rules. I'm getting tired all of a sudden. When you reject the ability of a person you're accusing to even be in the room to question what's going on, for anybody else to call witnesses when only one person has the right to call witnesses, which I imagine would be the prosecuting attorney or whoever is the head of the, I don't know if that would, she would be the moderator, but anyway. And as we saw just the other day, the chairman was literally directing the witness to not answer certain questions by Republicans. what kind of fairness is this? Scalia's echoed those comments in a Thursday tweet in which he also attached a video excerpt from his House remarks. He wrote, "Breaking, Democrats are voting to continue their Soviet-style impeachment scheme. They're not interested in due process. They're not interested in ending Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Scott's secret witch hunt. They're not interested in transparency. They just want to rig the 2020 election against Donald Trump." That's what this is all about. The deep state, which the Democratic Party is probably a big member of, doesn't want Trump to get reelected, so they're going to do everything and anything that they can, including another mass shooting, and I don't know where, don't know when. I would expect it would probably be probably after the spring primaries, when it's made official that Trump is the Republican candidate for president. Sometime after that, before the November election, that's where I would put the crucial time for all gun owners to be wary, because if it happens and the Democratic candidate, whoever it happens to be, they've all sworn to come and get your guns. So all I can tell you is, starting with April, May? May's the primary month, right? Yeah.
Yeah, April, May, somewhere.
Yeah, some places is April, some in May. When the primaries start, that's the crucial time to watch out, to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, of course, everybody knows that Joe Pito, or the guy who changed the name to be a fake Mexican, has dropped out of the race. Kamala Harris may drop out. She fired her staff in New Hampshire.
Yeah. Who's the one that I just saw, Beto?
Yeah, he's the one that dropped out the other day.
Yeah.
I think Roger Francis, I think Roger Francis is his actual name. Who's Irish American, who decided that he was going to become a fake Mexican, a fake Hispanic, to get the Hispanic vote. He quit. Like, Kamala Harris is on, she's concerned that America's not ready for anyone of color like she is.
We're not ready for any woman.
Anyway, so she saw her staff in New Hampshire, and I guess is worried about focusing now on Iowa. The caucus is going to be. But she's not going, a whole lot, so she could be the next one that drops out.
Something I've always wondered, but I never really found an answer to, never really cared to investigate the answer. But what happens to all the money in their election fund, campaign fund, when they drop out? What happens to that money? Does it go to the Democratic Party to pay for the...
I don't know where it's supposed to go, but one has to wonder how the Obamas, who, he's paid $40,000 a year for being a president. So 400,000 times 8 years is very,
$3,200,000.
That's right. So where do you get the money to buy the mansion and then pack it with 15?
Yeah, they spent unspent campaign money.
I don't think I really don't think it's a couple contribution.
In case you didn't hear that, I said unspent campaign money.
It went somewhere. Somebody got something. Of course, I know what he gave out so many favors. I mean, how many kickbacks he got, how much money in kickbacks he got from the 8 years as the Kenyan-born president, legally elected. Anyway. You need that one or?
My voice is quit.
Oh.
I did that one. I did that one.
He's kind of dry too. I'll do this one.
Yeah. Want to shut it a little bit?
Yeah, I'll have to look. I gotta read this first. Okay. Do Dems and media have any loyalty to America? Well, that daily. My answer is no.
I have to float my stick the same as you. No.
There is nothing more honest than a newspaper being upfront. It's dishonesty. In case you haven't heard about the publication, the Genesis Times relishes in publishing partial articles. Farcical, article. Unlike the mainstream media, it openly admits it, whereas other publishers use slogan to suggest they're not purviews of fake news, but then publish it. Genesis uses the slogan, the most reliable source of fake news on the planet. Actually, I'm not cool with these guys, but anyway. A sampling of some of this catchy style current headline Genesis recently used include Sharpton slams Trump for lack of diversity in team that caught al-Baghdadi. Or al-Baghdadi, anyway. Dems say Barr can't investigate because the U.S. has run out of subpoenas. I think they have plenty of paper. Omar offers condolences to friends and family of austere scholar al-Baghdadi. Court rules that father can start transitioning son into a Trump fan against mother's wishes. Mexican government hired Pizza to confiscate all the drug cartel guns. I'd love to see that one. Love that. I can do that one. Well, when he lasted. Hillary Clinton sold out tour or new book, Everything I Didn't Like is a Russian Agent. I'm sorry, Everyone I Didn't Like is a Russian Agent, yeah. There was one headline. However, that caused a conservative reader at first blush. Then he wondered if it contained a kernel of truth. This is especially due to timing. Appearing after the Democratic Party leadership protested not receiving advance notice, U.S. Special Forces would take down the serial killer and steroids Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi last weekend. The Genesis headline raising eyebrows at the possibility of why Trump failed to do was Russia to launch investigation during the Democrats with ties to the United States. I wish they would. I just see that. There's a sad commentary on politics today that our president feels uneasy about advising the opposition party leadership about such a major operation. Wait a minute. Why tell the ally of your enemy what you're going to do?
Well, so that the ally of your enemy can warn your enemy that we're coming. We saw that quite often in Korea.
Yes. But in the political backstabbing, one-upmanship environment, Trump had every reason to question who could be trusted with advanced information about the assault on Baghdadi's compound. His top priority, and a lot of people forget this, his top priority was to protect our courageous warriors conducting the operation. He was not to worry about political sensitivities. This is especially true after some of the top U.S. government officials entrusted with classified information such as Hillary Clinton and former FBI Director James Comey have violated that trust in more ways than we can count. The feathers of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi were definitely ruffled, and who gives her ass? Oh, that's it. Along with those of well-known police of classified information, Chairman of the House Intelligence. I'm sorry. Along with those of well-known, leader or leaker of classified information, Chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, out of shift. The congressman gained a reputation for having a very small bladder, as he often excused himself in classified sessions to take bathroom breaks. But the leak problem he suffered was not in the bathroom tank. They often use such breaks to make phone calls to network minions about testimony given. Providing a shift would be comparable to telling Baghdadi that we were coming. Most don't complain that even Russians are going to advance those the assault or Democrats were not. That's because we don't want the Russians to shoot down our helicopters and other planes involved in the raid. Okay? I'm sure the U.S. government trusts the Russians more than they trust the Democratic Party. Anyway. Setting aside the fact that former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton had supposedly reset relations with Russia during her watch, mostly ignores the fact unidentified aircraft in Syrian airspace have been shot down. While the incident involved a Russian aircraft flying along the Syrian-Turkish border, the incident in question involved a Russian aircraft flying along the Syrian-Turkish border being shot down by Turks. The Russian aircraft defensive weapons system turns into airspace might do the same thing to us. It was why they notified Russians. Yeah, we're doing this, and don't shoot our planes down because they're not attacking you, they're doing something else. The Syrian government allegedly informed Iran about the attack only after it had learned it had been occurred. However, like I knew beforehand, this is why we notified Russians. This is why notifying Russia had also had enough purpose. Okay, back channels to Syrians. This was going on, so don't shoot down our airplane or helicopters. As Russia is pulling out of Iran on the Syrian battlefield, notice to Moscow the pending raid meant notice to Tehran as well. As well. There was risk of an Iranian attack by telling Russia, we decided upon Moscow an obligation to reel the Iranians in to prevent them from interfering. In fact, Daddy-headed extremist Sunni terrorist group was sufficient reason for Tehran not to interfere with the attack. Its own extremist Shia militant leadership feared the resurging ISIS. The Sunnis and the Shias don't get along. Okay, it's worse than the Protestant and Catholic in Northern Ireland. To give it a reference. Okay, there's no extremist Shia militant leadership feared the resurging ISIS, and thus preferred seeing the more immediate threat of ISIS dealt a serious blow, despite viewing America as the great Satan. Reason two was Turkey was not notified until the raid was underway. Undoubtedly, one of the conditions in not telling the Turkish government, two was the fact extremists deemed moderate by the West President Recep Tayyip Erdogan saw establishment of a similar caliphate to ISIS. Saw establishment of a similar caliphate to what ISIS saw. So, yeah, you don't want to tell him until after that. Turkey was then lukewarm to such an attack, and therefore it was better to keep Erdogan as much as in the darkest shift. While Democrats in the media rejoiced over the news that Osama bin Laden had been killed, giving high praise to then President Barack Obama, there was no similar response to the news of Baghdadi's death. The House Democrats forming the squad have refused to give Trump any credit. The media soft headlines described Baghdadi as not as a mass killer he was, but rather a austere, particularly scholar. My ass. There's a credible media source like Newsweek would compare Trump to Hitler. We see a similar comparison given to Baghdadi. That too.
Dog.
Dead dog. Anyway.
Bad doggy.
We had him in 2004. He was trapped in a mosque. General Casey, four-star general in charge at the time, wanted to go after him. And we were told later on that he decided not to. Well, found out it was not him that decided, it was the folks in Washington, D.C., Pentagon, and more particularly the Bush White House that told Casey not to go after this terrorist because they didn't want to see the mosque destroyed and to make any more bad feelings with the Iraqis. But then, he did have in Camp Buka for terrorists, and I think it was in 2009, that the infamous Barack Hussein Obama released him because he's not a threat to anyone anymore. So it was Barack's buddy who was killed by Trump, or our force under Trump administration, and And I can see one Muslim coming from a Muslim. That's, the way it works, apparently. But anyway, as Kelly and Conway noted in a wake of media comments putting Baghdadi in a more favorable light to Trump, the media is angry at the President of the United States for getting rid of the world's worst terrorist. It's like, who is he to interfere when we're trying to impeach him? Currently, the media refuses to give Trump a win on the Baghdadi raid. Nowhere in this argument than one pundit crying it was inappropriate for Trump to call Baghdadi a coward since Muslim madman chose to blow himself up, along with 3 children, which I understand were his 3 children. Even the most minor of issues are flagged by the media, which even given space to... I can't read your root here. Even give them some space to acclaim by Obama's White House photographer that Trump situation room photograph was staged. And Obama's photograph of the White House looked about Obama and him all waiting for the Obama, Osama bin Laden. That was not staged. Anyway. Meanwhile, some Hollywood stars have jumped on board the anti-Trump bandwagon. There is something wrong with Democrats and the media refusing to see the fact that Baghdadi no longer breathes the same air as the rest of us as a win for Trump, making the world safer. Perhaps a more accurate Genesis headline about Russia investigating whether any Democrats have ties to the United States would have to be added. Would have to add in the media as well. Yeah, Democrats investigate both of them. The Democratic Party is not your friend. It's not my friend. It's not anybody's friend. Okay. Another known fact is the Communist Party helped re-elect FDR for his 2nd, 3rd, and 4th terms of office. Eleanor Roosevelt was more socialist than Franklin D. And under Franklin Roosevelt, we shipped A-bomb technology and everything was to the Russians via Siberia. Alaska to Siberia, and then the railroad to Moscow. The Communist Party and the Socialists are basically all allowed to do the Democratic Party. Everything that is being proposed by, I don't know how many people we have left running for office, President, proposed in the Democratic Party, are all espousing various socialist and communistic fascist ideas. Okay? If you can't see that, I feel sorry for you. But I think most listeners to this station and to the internet here on YouTube, listening right now, watching right now, know that there's something majorly wrong with the Democratic Party. Now, I'm not saying the Republicans are angels, but they got some issues too. But the Democratic Party has shown that they are so far left that they basically absorb the Socialist and Communist parties in the United States. And God help us all if a Democrat such as Biden, Warren, Sanders, and Butthead get elected as President of the United States. Anyway, your turn.
I heard about a comment that they were making here that the dog that led them to Baghdadi
Was injured, yes.
was injured, and the President Trump was going to pin a medal on him or give him a medal.
That's what I heard. The dog is back on duty, I understand. You're running severe, I guess, was thought.
But CNN and MSNBC accurately did a story on how they had to fact check because they thought it was real too funny.
We're getting dog and medal.
Yeah.
The police department is
It
getting.
won't be the first time a dog has
No.
received a medal for doing
No.
doing stuff. What the hell's the matter with these people? And
Now, as far as the it's yeah, right here. the comment of the what was it here? What's it? The county active, by Daddy blowing himself up. Okay, that's what they do. You know, he
Oh,
wore
yeah.
a suicide vest, full of explosives, probably ball bearings as well, and took out himself and 3 children. And supposedly his children were his. So his act killed 4 people. Now, according to Muslim belief, if you take out an enemy of Islam, doesn't matter if it's just 1, dozen, 100, you get 72 virgins. I don't think so. Anyway, you believe that, knock yourself out. Anyway. But this was the kind of people, they do that.
that's why they get their biggest body count in any situation.
Yeah, they
And yeah, they most likely did, like you said, cover themselves with BBs or nails
they do that.
or anything, pieces of wire, anything to enhance the kill range of the explosion.
Yeah, they talk. I know Trump mentioned him is cowardly and crying and all that stuff. Let me tell you a little story. In a certain town in northern Iraq, a place called Mosul, I had the privilege to go out with the infantry unit. And in the house that the one platoon I was with raided was empty, they went to support another platoon in their company and hit pay dirt and arrested some suspected terrorists. You point a gun at them, especially somebody carrying a pistol, because to them, somebody carrying a pistol is in a position of authority. When you point a pistol at them like I did, yeah, they were scared.
Give you any information, did he?
Well, they wouldn't give it home. That's why we hauled them off to the compound in Mosul there to those insurgents that were arrested.
Yeah, Army intelligence
and,
took over.
Yeah.
And,
But yeah, they weren't brave. They were definitely definitely afraid of my 9mm.
only the 9? You didn't use the 45 on them?
No, I was not. Well, I was authorized at 9. Picked up an M16A2 later on. So I slung that because it's easier to do with the 9 as far as covering them. So yeah, position of authority. Guys on 9mm. Okay, we're good.
Geez, they ain't any braver than anybody else that
No.
gets confronted or trapped, I guess. So, well, we do this one more story here, and that's probably going to take us to about the end of the show.
No, it's 10 minutes.
But we'll chew on this for a while. When I think it starts to run out of pertinent information, we'll stop and start chewing. Jim Jordan, 4 facts undermining Dems' impeachment process. This is off of One Net Daily. He contends shift leaked testimony changes nothing. In other words, somebody has leaked some testimony out there that doesn't mean a damn thing. Democrats are toting Army Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman. Where have we heard that name before?
Two articles.
Gee. As a first-hand witness who expressing concern about the phone call between President Trump and Ukraine President that triggered a current impeachment investigation. But Republican Jim Jordan of Ohio, the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, insisted Tuesday there are 4 fundamental facts that have never changed that undermine the Democrats' accusations. Mr. Vindman is not the first one to have talked to who has been on the call. We have heard from President Trump and Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky. We have gotten transcripts, he told reporters after Vindman's closed-door deposition. Vindman testified Tuesday before the House Intelligence, Foreign Affairs and Oversight and Reform Committee, another household. I'm surprised they don't have a bunch of letters for that. Anyway. And a unanimous whistleblower has accused Trump of using the withholding of aid to pressure Zelensky into investigating Hunter Biden's profiting from Ukraine's natural gas firm while his father was Obama's point man for the Ukraine policy. The White House contends a transcript of a call that released shows there was no quid pro quo, and officials urged Zelensky has insisted he was not pressured and aid was delivered. Both President Trump and Zelensky said no conditions, no pressure, no pushing, no quid pro quo, Jordan said. Yeah, it's pretty close to the same, but this one has... We'll skip to the four facts. Since a lot of it's same information. President Trump and President Zelensky both say there was no pressure. Transcripts show no conditionality. Ukraine didn't know aid was held back at the time of the call. Ukraine never took any of the actions they were supposedly being pressured to take. House Republicans have criticized the House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff for holding the hearings in private and restricting access to data, just like they do when when somebody's being lynched.
I don't like to say article.
Yeah, it's not quite, but it's just that. But anyway, this specifically points out the four facts of the holds in the Democratic whatchamacallit.
You found this short one here. New Memorial Newsmax, Energy Secretary Perry refuses to testify before Trump impeachment inquiry. Energy Secretary Rick Perry will refuse to appear before a closed session of House Representatives Committee investigating President Donald Trump for possible impeachment, an Energy Department spokeswoman said on Friday. The Secretary will not partake in the secret Star Chamber Inquisition where AZ counsel was forbidden to be present. And spokeswoman Jalynn Hines. The committee is interested in conducting a serious proceeding, and they are welcome to send the Secretary's invitation to participate in an open hearing where the Department's counsel will be present and the American people can witness. Okay? Get the gist of that one. They want him to show up without legal counsel, without legal representation. That is a communist tactic. Perry and the White House Budget Office Acting Director Russell Watt have been asked to testify next week in the impeachment inquiry. Perry is the first member of Trump's cabinet asked to appear before House investigators. Both Perry and Watt were asked to appear Wednesday in a closed session. State Department Counselor Ulrich Rechtbull, Under Secretary of State for Political Affairs David Hale, have also been asked to testify on Wednesday, an unnamed official told Reuters. House Democrats are pursuing an impeachment inquiry over Trump's action in deploying military in Ukraine as he pushed for an investigation of Democrats and potential rival Joe Biden, which we know now is actually not the case. That's it.
Okay, well, it's almost time. I'm going to read this comment here from Winterborn. The Democrats are just wannabe checkists. If you want to find out what that means,
see the movie Check.
Yeah, get the movie Checkists and it'll show you what it means. It's a retake of Nazi Germany, but only more recent than that. So, at that point we got 5 minutes. Is there anything you want to...
to check this is a violent movie, so be prepared for that. And it shows you, if you can't see the correlation between what happened in as part of the Russian Revolution and what's going on now, well, we haven't gotten to the point yet where we're actually executing people, or the communists in our government executing people like they do, but that's why I fear a Democratic takeover in 2020, or as a result of the 2020 election. You might, and remember too, every socialist government, communist government, fascist government took away the arms of the citizens, pretty much. Yeah, Germany, you could still hunt with your shotgun, but rifles were forbidden. Same thing in Russia and the Soviet Union. They took away basically private arms. Farmers could have approved hunters, state-approved hunters, could have them to take out game, especially endangered animals.
Shoot the wolves in the...
Yeah, that too. That was it. Things are just starting to happen here the same way. And I know Liz Warren just mentioned that, I didn't get to read the article, that she wants to tax basically gun ownership out of business. So, it'd be interesting to read the article and see what that was all about. But I know she's proposing a 42% tax on our income of all kinds.
It's already up to 45%.
Well, this is to pay for health care. So,
I know. I know what you're saying, yeah.
And
she wants to raise it on big business.
well, yeah, but who employs people in this country? Businesses.
Yeah, and who's paying a lot of the
Taxes
fringes?
paid by.
Yeah, one of the fringes benefits from the
Healthcare.
employer is health care. Not all of them, but
Well, yeah, I know, but
But so she's blowing smoke out her ass because she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about, and that. So, any last quotes or anything that you think people should be wary of?
one more time. For those in Pennsylvania, on Tuesday, Marcy's Law, vote no. N-O, no. We don't need it. We don't want it. It's unconstitutional under both the PA, state, and U.S. constitutions. So vote no. Tell your family members to vote no. Tell your friends to vote no. And just one more second reminder again, November 4th, tomorrow, when people are threatening to do mass violence and chop the heads off people who are Trump supporters. Probably not going to happen, but just word to wise, just maintain a situation awareness of what's going on around you and your neighborhood.
All I got to say is I'm going to be at a gun show at Yankee Lake Ballroom. For those of you who live in this area, it's only about an hour's drive. Even if you don't live in this area, you find a gun show or you go and you buy yourself some ammo. You cannot have enough ammo and you cannot have enough dried food stashed away. Because if things happen, or when things happen, it's not a question of if, it's when. When things happen, the only resupply is going to be what you can take off the dead bodies of your enemy, and probably they won't have very much because unless they're the military that's coming after you, and I hate to see that, but I don't think we'll see a whole lot of our U.S. military. That's my personal belief, but I do believe that those in the military who will go along with the program will be bolstered by UN troops.
Okay. A lot of people don't know is that a good many senior ranking officers and government officials belong to the CFR, Council on Foreign Relations. That is a globalist organization. If they're a member of CFR, they cannot be trusted. General McMaster, she was working White House, 4-star general. Great job in Iraq, back in Desert Storm 1, where there's this Desert Dust 1. But somewhere along the line, he got co-opted. I'm afraid many of our senior officers, colonels on up, for sure, maybe lieutenant colonels, were co-opted by CFR. you're out there military, active military member, you do not obey the illegal orders from your superiors.
And save yourself a lot of hassle. If your superior comes down and give you the order to go confiscate the guns, shoot him. Because he was not smart enough to shoot the bastard above him that gave him the order to come and tell you to go do it. I hate to see a mutiny, but that's the only way it's going to stop. Cut the head off. And so, that's it, folks. We will see you next week at same bad channel.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Okay, I'll get you. I'll get you to learn what's going on here yet. So on that note, folks.
Yeah, I was at Yankee Lake.
Yeah. So on that, folks, it's time to say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, all you Mickey Mousers. Okay, is our camera off? No.
Mic off, yes. Camera off, no.
Ah,
You sure? Yeah, this one's off.
I'll get it off here.
No, this one. That's off.
And,
Make sure. No, I'm gonna take that side. Yeah.
First 30-day bottle of P3 Advance.